Sonic Shroom here, welcome, and to returning subscribers, a special welcome to you, thank you very much. In this video, I'll be reacting to a reaction on an incident that recently happened with Logan Paul on a podcast. I'm not a follower of Logan Paul at all, I don't really know his work, so I don't really have an opinion on the man. Reacting to reactions will not be something I typically do. I see it as a bit redundant, but in this case I thought they were all missing the point, so I thought I'd just jump in on it and give my opinion on the subject. So let's get into it.
Logan Paul recently mocked God,
a belief that is silly.
and then
What's that? Mocking God? I don't know how much to that clip there is, but that little example he gave there, he said, in his opinion, the belief is silly. He didn't say anything about God. He just said he thinks it's silly. So he wasn't mocking God. Continue.
this happened.
I made some pretty out of line comments to George. The following 3 weeks have been the hardest period of my life. We were invited by Qatar. We landed Qatar. Camera stripped from us. $20,000 camera. No problem. It's just little things here and there. Things aren't showing up. We misscheduled. Got violent food poisoning. Next day got alcohol poisoning. Our luggage was delayed, so we had no clothes to get to our events. Me and Mike got in a massive fight.
But rather than
So, sounds to me like Logan Paul's thinking there that God is punishing him for being skeptical, for questioning, wondering, not seeing enough evidence to make the position sound compelling. And God has decided to ruin his day. But do you think, Logan, that maybe in Qatar they don't know who you are and they don't care who you are and you get treated just like everyone else, and that's what you're feeling?
him complaining that it wasn't fair, he actually thought that he deserved it.
Qatar was the first time I felt the wrath of God. Ironically, I defamed Jesus and God, and I felt his wrath. It was just...
And for some reason, the God and Jesus who watch over the entire earth, with all the things going on earth, saw fit to ruin Logan Paul's day, or next 3 weeks. He's spent 3 weeks on this, just bugging him, because Logan didn't believe in him? Okay.
It was very telling to me how the karmic energy of the universe, this is what I'll call it, just went right back around and put me in my place.
But even though George was
But you didn't do anything to the universe. You expressed an opinion. That's all.
quick to forgive Logan for mocking his faith, the fans didn't believe that Logan deserved his forgiveness. Bro, how
I wonder what the fans want to do to him. Because you'll see in a moment what the host, the podcast host, wants to do to him.
many times are people going to forgive him? Every time he gets away from it. You cannot apologize time and time again and just be forgiven. Point is, he ain't sorry and he don't care. Y'all still be feeding this man and he does everything else but say he is sorry. But even though the fans didn't believe that George should have forgiven Logan, what they didn't know was what happened the night before the podcast episode that enabled George to forgive Logan so easily.
This is the interesting part to me, or the bit that I had to say something about.
The night before it happened, bro, I'm sitting and I'm reading the Bible, and I literally say a prayer to God. I know you love him, but I want to kill him. I want to.
Okay. So while he's reading his Bible, his thoughts about someone expressing an unbelief in their opinion, in your opinion, you wanted to kill them? Is that the state of mind that the Bible puts you in? Is that where you always go when someone disagrees with your opinion? Or is it just on the opinion of God? Seems to be an extreme position to go to when someone just disagrees with you. Not sit down, talk to him, give him my opinion and why I don't think it's silly, ask him why he thinks it's silly, No, you want to kill him.
Punch him in the face, but I
And
know you
punch him
don't
in the
want me
face.
to. And I know you love him.
God doesn't want you to, and you know God. But you've had God in your life, I don't know how long, yet your brain still went to killing him as the first thought. God in your brain didn't seem to help with that, but now he cares?
And I know this opportunity between two best friends could open a lot of people's eyes.
Best friends? Is this... If I had a friend and I knew that they thought about killing me when I expressed an opinion that they didn't agree with, I wouldn't be their friend anymore. I don't know about all you out there, but that's just way too extreme for me.
As to who God is. So I sat there and I go, God, what do you want from me? God says, be quiet.
Wouldn't you already know? You had your head in the Bible. You've grown up as a Christian, I assume. Why do you have to ask him? Just
Quiet and love. And like, bro, like I felt it.
be quiet and love, God says. So, do you think that's maybe just logic? Because the way you were approaching the subject before sounded totally illogical to me. Not a logical way to approach the situation. As I said, sitting down and talking would have been much better. So now you think you're hearing God in your brain. I believe that's just logic. That's just logic kicking in. You realize that punching him in the face and killing him wouldn't change anything, wouldn't help anything, wouldn't do anything, and would be a bad option in that situation. And your logic has overridden that as an option, and it said, no, just sit down and talk. And you've turned that into love him somehow. I don't think you're going to go and make love after this, so just sit down and talk.
I'm in the kitchen, Belle's cooking dinner, and I sat there and I go, Belle, I think God just talked to me. Like, I'm not trying to be like a lunatic. And hear me out. I think I just got to talk out of love. I got to talk out of love. And she's like, why do you keep saying that? And I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I got to talk out of love. And I sat on the couch and I'm just sitting off.
No, you just have to not talk out of hate.
And I'm like, bro, what does he want from me? How can I go and portray Jesus in the best way possible? She goes, hey, Adam is blowing up your phone. I answer the phone. He goes, bro, I got to tell you something. Jesus told me to tell you he loves you, and yes. And I'm like, what? I go, why did you just say that? Belle put her knife down. I go, buddy, back up. Why did you say that? He goes, I have no idea what's going on. He goes 3 times in my...
He doesn't know what he's saying yes to, but Jesus says yes. Something you've thought through that process, Jesus has said yes to.
My prayer, God interrupted me. He goes, go tell George whatever he feels in his heart is right. And it was at that.
So what he felt in his heart was to kill and to cause physical harm on someone because they expressed a different opinion. It was his head, not his heart, his head, his logic that kicked in, which he thought was God, that prevented him from doing the bad thing. It was God and the Bible who led him to see that disagreement in opinion as a reason to kill someone. And this is the point that they all seem to be missing, and the point that stood out to me the most through this whole interaction.
That moment, bro, where I was like, all we had to learn is like, regardless of what you say and regardless of what I say, speak out of love. And to be honest, bro, like it just came to the conclusion of this. There is a very real God that will walk through this journey with you. That God is right near you. Neither him or me or Mike or any single person here will ever abandon a man like you because you're not worth abandoning. And I love you.
Yeah, but if you have a difference of opinion again, are you going to want to kill him? Going to want to cause him physical harm? If you didn't hear God's voice at the time, would that make you think it's okay to do that?
Goddamn.
So, from George's point of view, God prepped him to forgive Logan in advance by telling him that he should be calm and to show love to Logan. Now,
Logan had nothing to be forgiven for. Logan expressed an opinion. He expressed a that he didn't accept someone else's evidence for an idea or an opinion. That's all. That's not something that needs to be forgiven for. Logan didn't need an apology. Logan, the other guy needs to apologize to Logan for thinking of killing him just because of disagreement.
I personally have no idea if George was hearing from God or not, but one thing that I
Of course he wasn't. That was his own logic in his brain that kicked in.
do know is that one part of what he said is consistent with what God says about forgiveness in Scripture. In Matthew 18:22, the question of how many times you should forgive someone came up. Peter says to Jesus, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7."
Okay, so now he's talking about people sinning against people and using this as an example of what should happen to someone who sins against God. But they're not apples and apples comparison.
7 times? And Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times."
So I guess you have to keep counting then and hit 77, and that's too many. Doesn't matter what it is that they've done, you have to just keep forgiving people. Well, I say no. If people want to keep doing things that harm you and you've made them aware that they're harming you and they want to continue to do those things, then remove that person from your life. That's what you need to do.
Given the fuller context of this verse, the point is that we should keep forgiving people a near infinite amount of times. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that we should enable bad behavior or refuse to put up appropriate boundaries, but what it does mean is
Sounds very similar.
that we should forgive people for the countless things that they've done to us, and the reason why is because of the
No, you don't have to.
near infinite things that God has forgiven us for. So as Christians,
We've done nothing. God is not forgiving us for anything. There's no sin. We're not born in sin. It's okay.
we should offer people what they don't deserve, and sometimes that's our forgiveness. And the reason why we're able to do this is because God gave us forgiveness that we didn't deserve either. But if you're a Christian who refuses to forgive those who hurt you,
we didn't deserve the condemnation in the first place from God. It is silly. I agree with Logan. Logan did nothing wrong. The whole idea is silly, contradictory, and it doesn't help.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but what do you mean?
Okay, that's the end of his video there. So I hope you can see why I had to say something about this topic. Seems to be people don't realize the hate and the violence associated with the division when it comes to religious people. Seems his supposed best friend, Logan Paul, was instantly made seen as the enemy just for holding an opinion. And the Christian's brain went straight to kill him, injure him, not talk to him, educate him, try and come to some place where we can both hold our opinions and not have it cause any division at all. But no, he wanted to kill him, and I'd say in that situation, it was lucky God guided him to do the right thing, or his brain, in my opinion, guided him to do the right thing and see things logically. But it was the Bible and that kind of thinking that led him to see the fight in the first place. It had instantly become not a discussion, but a fight for some reason, and a justification to kill somebody, to injure somebody. I've never wanted to punch, injure, hurt anyone in any way because their opinion differed with mine, and I was unable to change their opinion on a given subject. It's not a reason for violence, not a reason for a fight. And I think the the faster, sorry, that we can move on from all this religion that divides so strongly, then the quicker we'll all be able to move on in peace together in a productive world that heads towards good good practices. I think religion is holding back countries, nations working together for the good of the planet. And yeah, I don't see it as giving people good ways to think, when you look at that as an example, at least anyway. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you have any thoughts, please comment down below. I'll try to respond to all comments at the moment, so you can have a chat down below if you wish. Thank you and goodbye for today. Take care, everyone.